The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Hek'ma Harrison, DeMontre Moore, and Newy Scruggs.
Let's ride. Players Lounge, brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming.
We back.
Yes, we're back. You got Hek'ma Harrison here. We got Barry Church, former Cowboys safety. I'm Newy Scruggs. Right here at the Star in Frisco.
That would be us.
Get
that
down
would be us.
and do our thing. Last week we didn't get a chance to talk, so I want to go revisit something that happened last week because I thought it was very important.
Okay.
And that is the quarterback position.
Oh.
Joe Milton.
Young Milton.
Is
Third, or
in
is
a
it-
trade comes over from the New England Patriots. The Cowboys actively were talking to quarterbacks at the combine. There was many conversations held about the Cowboys taking a quarterback. This essentially takes the Cowboys out of the quarterback mix. Joe Milton won a game for the Patriots last year. And as we discussed on the media mash yesterday, there's two thoughts of Joe. There is Bazooka Joe with the arm.
And we got a cannon. He do have a cannon.
And then his competitors would call him Overthrow Joe.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yo, what is going on?
Pros
man?
and cons, man. Pros and cons.
It's a dude who throw. It's a baseball guy. He throw 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he can go.
Where's it gonna go?
Nobody knows.
We gonna find out.
So, Hek'ma, I'll start with you. How do you feel about Joe Milton?
Bazooka Joe. I saw plenty of him in Tennessee, so I know about the arm strength. I'm just in the vein of, if we're going to make some news in the free agency, let's make some with a guy that is going to help us immediately. And that's where I was. It was bigger news than I thought it should be. When I think about Joe Milton, the only thing that we have to go on is that I don't want to call it a preseason game, but it's the last game of the season where Buffalo didn't play any of their starters. And so it's a preseason game, basically, where, he performed well. And I think for me, the reality of the situation is if Joe Milton sees any significant amount of time, then we're in the Arch Manning sweepstakes. Am I? Come on, guys. Let's. This is the Players Lounge.
Gotta keep it clean.
It's the Players Lounge, and I feel like, again, you're putting Dak in another situation where, when you brought in your guy last season, he wasn't threatened by that, and I don't think you bringing in a guy to threaten. You lose Cooper. You need to shore up the backup position.
Yes.
I think you have plenty of opportunity in this draft to get a backup quarterback, a young backup quarterback, Quinn Ewers, or a guy like that,
More polished. Huh?
Yeah,
That's a question. That is a question.
I'm just saying. I think you had an opportunity to go. There are some late round quarterbacks that you could have looked at in this situation, and by all accounts, by all the polling that you see, or guys that are saying what the Cowboys are going to do in the draft, quarterback had been one of those late round picks that you were going to get.
Yeah.
And so, look, Joe Milton, from an athletic standpoint, what I don't want to see, Barry, is I don't want to see a Joe Milton package. I don't want that. I don't want a Joe Milton package. I don't want we get down on the goal line and, now we're going to bring Joe Milton in, or no. I want to, keep it straight, keep it, honest, go out and get some playmakers. And that's just how I felt about the draft. I think athletically, I think he's a freak.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a freak. I think, arm strength, arm talent. He'll take your head off on a 5-yard pass, but,
That touch might not be there. We're going to see, though. We're going to see.
A little bit of Cam in that, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But still, great athlete. And again, I look forward to him sitting behind Dak Prescott and learning the tricks of the trade and becoming a better pro.
So what I'm hearing
go
from
ahead.
you is you don't like this. You would have preferred they went to the draft and taken. You've mentioned Quinn Ewers, but I think that's probably
A little too high.
Well, I think Quinn Ewers will be a guy drafted in the top 3 rounds. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I really do. I'm thinking between 3. Well, we don't have a 4.
We don't have a 4.
But if you were able to pick up a 4 or a compensatory pick that maybe you would have been able to get, or if the guy slides, then you could pick up a young quarterback. That's where my mind state was in the quarterback room.
Because and where mine was, I'll let you get to your point here, Barry. I'm thinking 1, 2, 3 have got to be some guys who can be
right now
immediate
off the bus, right? Right. Walk-in guy.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me, and I think Quinn Ewers is going to be a guy that goes in rounds 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
Okay.
That didn't fit for the Cowboys in my mind.
Mm-mm.
And so you were thinking in my mind, I'm thinking day 3. That's why they got a Dak at. You're looking at that. Even when they gave up the pick for Trey Lance, as a day 3 guy.
Yeah, 4 for
I don't think Quinn Ewers is going to be a day 3 guy. And you're talking, they're trying to get him in 5? I don't think Quinn Ewers is going to be there.
No, he ain't gonna be there on the 5th.
In the 5th? I don't think he'll be in the 5th.
I don't think so either.
Kyle McCord?
Maybe a 4th.
Guy like that to be a day 3 guy. I mean, when I think of day 3 guys, Will Howard, Ohio State, Dylan Gabriel, those are day 3 guys I'm thinking.
And that was just one name that popped, for me, because we're here and we know all about him. But again, I'm just, as far as skill set is concerned, a guy that could sit behind a Dak Prescott that is aging. He's having injuries, all right? But if that guy is able to mature into the position and say, next year, if there is a, God forbid, situation where we lose our starting quarterback, we've already seen what this guy does in the preseason. We're confident in what he does, and that's the same confidence that we were talking about Cooper Rush last season with him stepping in.
Exactly.
Your thoughts on that?
And I thought it was a solid move. What did we get him for? A 6 or was it a 7th?
Yeah, it was a day 3.
It was a day 3.
You gave up day 3 assets for a guy for what you were looking at.
Yeah, and when
day 3 quarterback.
And when you talk about those day 3 guys, all those guys we mentioned, they're kind of developmental themselves. So I feel like you've gotten a guy in Milton who he's going to come in, develop. He'll get all those reps in the preseason. Dak's not going to play in the preseason. He'll get all those early reps, and we'll see what he can develop into. But I thought it was a solid pick. I mean, you need to shore up that backup position because Cooper Rush, we've seen he's come in these past couple of years, and he's played well, and he's played as well himself into another contract with Baltimore. So he's out the door. So you've got to have somebody that can come in here and basically reassure that position at the backup quarterback spot. And, God forbid, hopefully nothing happens to Dak. Because like you said, if that were to happen, we're in the sweepstakes for something in the next draft. But for me, I thought it was a solid move. This is a guy that's uber talented when you talk about athleticism. He got the feet. He got the cannon. Do he have that touch? Can he get the ball over those linebackers and drop it right in the bucket towards those receivers? We'll see. But he has the talent and the arm strength to make any throw out there. So to me, I believe it was a solid move. And I'm with you, Newy, on this one. When you talk about those first 3 rounds, they've got to be guys that could come in here and contribute ASAP. Yeah. Because especially in the trenches, we talked about offensive line, defensive line. You've got to solidify those groups of positions right there. But also the second level. What are we talking about with linebackers here? Defensively.
Hadn't had this conversation.
Yeah, Overshown, but he's coming off a gruesome injury. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see him, if at all, this season coming up. So you got to reassure those positions. And I think that's where you got to deal with those first 3 rounds. I believe the pickup of Joe Milton is a solid pickup, and he should be able to solidify that backup position if we have a quarterback whisperer on the staff.
Yeah, my questions have questions. All right.
Sure.
And the only thing I'm saying is, why was New England so eager to make that trade? What was it? Because you got a new coach that's doing a full evaluation of everybody that's, the fifth.
That's one.
Okay.
That's one. Josh McDaniels.
And like, so what was it about his game that didn't correlate to the new administration that says, okay, we need to get him out of here? I mean,
do you think Drake May, they don't want Drake May feeling any type of pressure at all? Like, I want this to be your room, your guy. We don't want, Milton coming here in the preseason lighting it up, and then Drake May's like, oh,
that
snap.
was a part of it.
Yeah,
that was
that's
what
I'm thinking.
If you read some things up there that, hey, this guy was playing right there with him at camp last year, but one guy's a high pick, and Milton, he felt, to read more, he felt some kind of way too, like, really?
This is who y'all got? Really? This is your man? This your man right here?
He
I
got
can see that.
like Orlando Scandrick looking at old boy from South Florida. Jingle.
This your guy, huh? This what you leaving me
Okay,
for?
I'm 5. He won, but what we seeing?
Yeah, exactly.
Take off them picks.
Right.
What we seeing here?
But when has competition been a bad thing? I mean, and you have a young quarterback room, and neither guy has solidified themselves to say that, hey, he's taking the reins and he's our future. And so, I mean, like I said, that was my only question. When a team is eager to get rid of young talent, I ask those questions like, wait a minute, man. Whoa. This guy showed you something. Why are you so quick to
Boys
get rid
buckle
of
under
him?
pressure these days. Man. I'm telling you, they don't want that competition.
What happened?
They like, man.
That's all I ask.
They want to feel comfortable. And I don't know. I wasn't in that locker room, but I feel like that has something to do with it. Like, I don't want this guy breathing down my neck. He's playing well in the preseason. I may be struggling a little bit. And guys buckle under that pressure when it comes to competition.
And I go back to the point of other teams were interested in Milton.
Yeah.
And they said, we sent him to Dallas because that's where he wanted to go. And they had a respect enough of him. Respect for a dude who just got there?
Yeah. Who hasn't done a cup of coffee.
That tells me something about the organization. Hey, man, just which tells me, okay, maybe there was a little something to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's something in there now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Come on now. Newy, I'm playing the breadcrumbs.
But we're not getting, we took Drake made guy. Drake May's their guy. Like, we in.
Exactly.
We in. So I could see some of that happening there. But I go back into this. It's you were going to take somebody day 3.
Mm-hmm.
Gave up day 3 assets. You've got a guy who's already spent a year in the league. Mm-hmm. He's played a game, won the game. Buffalo was done, but hey, at least you did it. Yeah, at least you did it. And their job as an organization is to unlock the potential. Because if he didn't have these issues about overthrows and touch, then he wouldn't have been available for that. You'd have probably had to give up a 3.
Yes.
Or, So I just say to myself, moving off Trey Lance, this has the potential to be a better player. But you've got to keep throwing, ultimately, you've got to keep throwing darts at this thing.
Yeah.
Ron Wolf made a fantastic living in Green Bay by constantly going and getting quarterbacks. Mark Brunell. When he took the kid from Boston College, Hasselbeck, who ended up going with Holmgren to Seattle and started a Super Bowl. Aaron Brooks, when they took him, and he ended up going to New Orleans and he was with McCarthy, and they won their first ever playoff game down there. They were always doing. Ty Detmer was there. They had quarterbacks all the time in that system. Kurt Warner was in Green Bay for a minute. So they were constantly just throwing darts at this thing with the quarterback and let's figure out what we're going to do. And I think the Cowboys did the right thing. I mean, if you think about it, Dak Prescott was a dart too.
He was
a dart. I mean, he came there. Remember when he came here, it was like him and Jamil Showers. I mean, it was like, we got 2 dudes at the fourth quarterback spot. So
he was backing up all those guys.
He was.
Right. It was Romo, Kellen Moore,
Jabil Showers.
Right. So you're.
He may have been 4th or 5th.
He was low.
Yeah.
Right. So you're there. So I just believe, keep doing this. If it hits, great. I mean, Drew Henson came here for a minute.
Stephen McGee.
Right. Stephen McGee was a 4th round guy. So
now you're going off track. Well, now you made an exit.
then you had the dude from La Tech that they got rid of. Chris Beam, who was the guy? Remember he ended up with the Jets. He played a couple games. Then you had the one quarterback that they took from Oregon State, Matt Moore, who ended up being a really good, solid backup and played some years in Carolina.
Yeah.
Mike White.
That was
here. Yeah, Mike White.
That was Mike White. Mike White from La Tech. So you got to keep throwing darts at this thing. So I think they did the right thing. The Trey Lance dart missed.
Yeah.
Okay. But you got to keep going because of the cost of what it is to try to go get a starter. You got to do it. I mean, Kirk Cousins was a dart. They took RG3. They took the dart on Kirk, and it worked out.
It did. But then it goes back to something that Barry was saying, having that quarterback whisperer on staff.
Have somebody.
A guy that can develop your talent when they come in. I mean, you think about 1A, 1B in that situation with Washington when they bring in those 2 superstars. You have RG3 just setting the league on fire, but as soon as he's injured, Kirk Cousins comes in and everybody's going, oh, this is the way offense is supposed to work. And a guy standing in there and delivering the mail. Again, I am not at all opposed to Joe Milton. Okay,
Sure.
The athleticism, everything that he presents to me, I think is desirable. My thing is this: he's not going to see the field because the healthier version of Dak and his whole career, we hadn't been used to these injuries the way that we've been seeing them the last couple of years. It started with the ankle, now the hamstring, and now starting to see those durability issues. And I'm saying to myself, just based off of what I saw last year, because last year was a case of Murphy's Law. What could go wrong went wrong, and when we got an opportunity to see a backup quarterback behind that offensive line, it went bad with the running game that we had. Now, if we had all these other things in place, offensive line, running back, I'm cool. Come on, Milt. Let's cook.
32-year-old Dak Prescott now, and let's go back, 2020, 5 games. 2021, 16 games, 2022, 12 games, 2023, 17 games. Last year, he played 8 games. You have to start to think about development.
100%.
And once again, throwing a dart. Arguably the greatest quarterback in this league was a dart.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. Because they had Drew Bledsoe and gave him a $100 million contract. So I am on board with just saying, hey, man, you got to do it. They did it. And now it's up to the coaches.
Yeah.
You guys got to go figure it out. And then also, and you know this very well, Barry, it becomes on the player. What are you going to do? I'll say this. If you're Joe Milton, there's opportunity here. Because you just have to look at the fact of what's been happening with Dak Prescott.
100%.
Yes, he's lost weight, by the way. He's lost weight.
Looks great.
Yeah, he does.
But you don't know. This is a league of opportunity, man.
People hit hard in this league, I'm telling you. And for Milton, it's all about the reps. The difference between the Trey Lance dart and this Milton dart to me is Milton's gonna get a hell of a lot more reps than Trey Lance got. I'm talking not got the preseason, but scout team during the season. You had Rush running those scout team, getting those reps against the defense.
Completely
Trey Lance
different.
might come in there every now and then for, a couple reps here and there doing practice. But if I'm Milton, I'm taking all those scout teams. Dak, go over there and chill over there. I'm going to take those scout teams and I'm going to take those last couple reps that, when Dak gets a little tired with the ones, I'm going to come in there and get a couple. He's going to get the reps to develop. And I think that was a difference between him and Trey Lance.
Absolutely.
Stay there. And then what you do with those reps.
Yeah.
Because with Patrick Mahomes, I was talking to Clark Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs. He said he would continually get reports about what Patrick was doing. Right? Like, hey, man, watch this throw.
He's lighting up that one defense. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we do have something here. And that was always the thing with Trey Lance is what you never heard.
Yeah.
Nobody ever said, hey, man.
Never heard of that one.
Hey, look at this throw Trey made. Trey.
No,
He put it on the dot.
not one report ever.
See that deep ball he threw? Nah, you ain't seen none of that. You ain't seen none of that.
No.
And guys talk. Guys
Yeah,
talk.
absolutely.
Guys talk.
And that's why I was saying, man, about my questions having questions. You got these two guys on the field together, and Milton's down on the other side taking those reps. You're getting an opportunity to see him go up against that defense. That competition and how that is brewing each and every week. You don't just see teams dump that kind of talent. I'm sorry. The competitive nature of football doesn't allow you to say, oh, it's a talented guy, let's just get rid of him. No, there's something there, and I just want to know what it is.
That's exactly what happened with Dak and Romo. I'm sitting there at practice watching. I'm like, man, this dude, he's getting rid of the ball quick. We're going against him because he's a scout team guy. I'm like, oh, this dude got some athleticism to him. This guy can buy time a little bit. He's putting him. The guys starting the locker room was talking like, oh, we got a nice little backup here. And then we went to that game against the Rams at the Coliseum. He got the whole
The one to
preseason,
Dez,
and he
shot the Dez.
I was like, that's when everybody's eyes was like, oh damn, okay, this guy got some game to him,
Lights were
got
not
some
too
moxie.
big.
Yeah, exactly.
He fit right in there.
Had
That was-
control of everything.
And that was a game where the Coliseum, they filled it up too.
Yeah, it was packed.
It was, because they got so many Cowboy fans on this. It was filled up. And so that's the whole thing with the dart, guys. We don't know.
Yeah.
And I am not as mad at Cowboy fans as other people are about Trey Lance. You tried. It didn't work. And guess what? Sometimes it don't work. The Steelers tried with Justin Fields last year.
Kenny Pickett. I mean, they
Didn't work. Right.
They
right.
still can't find him.
Right.
It's just never mind. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to talk about the Steelers. They just continue to make bad mistakes at the quarterback position, and now they're about to make another one if they're waiting on A-Rod. Anyway.
Rudolph about to be. Oh, man.
Let's get our first break in on the Players Lounge.
Do it again.
Oh, no.
Agent Zero is in action. We'll talk about that next.
Yeah.
Hek'ma Harris, Barry Church, I'm Newy Scruggs. This is the Players Lounge brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming on DallasCowboys.com.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
Dallas Cowboys Game Day is brought to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL. The NFL season is full of legendary tales on and off the field. And when you follow the captain within you, stories become stuff of legends. So gather your crew and visit followthecaptain.com to begin your adventure. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spiced Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Raising Cane's presents the other rules of football. Rule 1. Any broadcast without the express addition of cooked-to-order Cane's chicken fingers is prohibited. Rule 12. No crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, or craveable Cane sauce constitutes an illegal formation. And Rule 31. Anybody who loves to feed their game face is an eligible receiver of Cane's. When it comes to winning game day, Cane's rules. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Go Cowboys.
Back to the Players Lounge.
That's so
Memento.
All right. Cowboy fans, get ready for draft weekend presented by Miller Lite at the Star in Frisco. The action kicks off Thursday, April 24th with the ultimate draft party, continues Friday with the draft hangout, and wraps up Saturday with the Draft Day 5K presented by Baylor Scott and White Health. 3 days of football fun and fan experience you do not want to miss. Visit DallasCowboys.com draft details.
There you go. And I didn't even wear white. I didn't wear white when I was out there.
Wait, looking at my guy. Wow.
Want some chips? Dude.
Hold on, man. What you talking
I'm sorry.
Here. My bad, people. We go, yeah.
It was beautiful, though. I mean, it was picturesque, everything you said, but, bro, it was,
Was
That is funny. That is
ain't
funny.
on my bucket.
That's mine.
Yeah, your bucket list. I did.
I'll tell you how it goes.
I mean, it's 30-something years later. It's a little different. They got black members there now. It's certain thing when I got there they didn't have.
Okay.
So
Shout out to Augusta.
you have fun out there. Masters this week. Go.
That is funny.
That
is funny.
No, look. As the Masters get going, I hope I'd like to see Jordan Spieth win it, man, because my man's career ain't been nothing since he had that Masters won.
Man.
Went on that back nine and just,
That might have been one of the biggest
looking like
collapses.
Duke basketball on that line, just choking it away.
That was brutal.
Yes. Yeah, he ain't been the same since. Yeah. And you think about it. So, I mean, we're right here in Dallas Fort Worth. So Jordan Spieth was like, that was the guy now.
Yeah.
And he was right here in town. And then the whole Byron Nelson, he had 18s. He was all about him. Next thing you know, all of a sudden, he went to Texas. And here comes this dude from Texas a couple years later named Scottie Scheffler. Just went past.
Yeah. Hit the deuces on him.
Right. He winning major championships, becoming world number one. And Jordan Spieth, oh, yeah, man, you. And I've gone out there. the crowds ain't the same.
No.
Ain't got them crowds like it used to have, man. You know, them crowds dwindled, man. It was like, I mean, even when he was in high school, man. When he was in high school, had that good little run out there at the Nelson. Oh yeah, man. I mean, dude, when you get cold product, man, it's cold. Even in the golf
world, baby.
Even in the golf world.
Whole world, baby.
It's tough, man. It's tough. So
It ain't the same without Tiger out there, man. At least for me. I just like, man, even though I knew he really wasn't going to have a chance, but it's like, man, every shot he makes you, come on, Tiger.
Yeah.
You got it, baby. You can come.
Yeah.
It just ain't the same without him.
And the crowd that used to be around him,
Man.
it was phenomenal, man. The roar. I just think it's a bucket list.
Same here.
It's a bucket list
you to go
thing
to
of
the
mine.
Masters, I guess.
Yeah, I want to go to Augusta.
I do
And Chris Beam kind of, like in true Chris Beam fashion, sniped me off
Sniped
of it
you
to
from
let
the
me
top.
know that.
Oh, you think you going
There's
here?
a waiting list. There's a draft.
Let me tell you like this, bro.
What'll happen? You just buy a ticket.
I will say that when you go, who's that? That's it. I mean, the amount of star power people there
Yeah.
trip you out.
Yeah.
And they're all, all there just to watch, to be there. So that is one thing. If you ever get to go, man, you go see some, actors and musicians and athletes. I mean, and especially those who retire. I remember Chipper Jones talking to me. He was like, "Man, I finally get to go." Because it was a baseball season all the time. He was retired from the Braves. Like, man, you get to go. And he makes that trip out there all the time because Chipper's a golfer and just wanted to go out there. So
Bear, I got you, bro.
Appreciate you, man. If you get it, let me know, man. I'll slide in there, man.
Make sure we don't wear white.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna show you to the course. Show you to the kitchen.
Oh, man. Where you think you going?
Let's see. Come on. Agent Zero. Hey, come on. Let's get into this number, man.
Back to the Cowboys.
Yes.
Throw this away for me.
Throw away these 13 jerseys. You can walk over here.
Yeah. Man.
Take that box of 13, and we need you to move it over here to this building. Take it out of the locker room and move it over here. So Overshown now gets to wear the number 0. He's not going to play until November. We had Clarence Hill on the media match yesterday here on DallasCowboys.com. He said, hey, look, finally they get to sell the jersey. It was 0 at Texas, but he's not going to play till November. And my thing is just, okay.
Come on, Newy.
I mean, this is nice.
He on fire today, dog.
I mean, really.
What was the hold up on the 0 though? Like what
Come on.
was like it was
Rowdy.
Rowdy. Rowdy had
Is that right, Chris Bean went to Rowdy? Like we can't infringe on the mascot.
Rowdy.
But I mean, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
He gets his number, and it's a part of his brand. I'm happy for him, man. It's your brand, good.
Yeah.
And we all three of us love the player.
No, he's a beast. Yeah,
He's got another knee injury. Not gonna be here till November.
What's it gonna look like in November?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's.
So, like I said, I'm happy you got your number.
Yeah.
But
The bigger questions for me has been, from the beginning, why didn't he get it? And if that was Rowdy, the mascot, if that had something to do with it, then okay. I mean, the guy wore 0 in college, and I think it was pretty new when he got the number in college. A lot of those big fellas started to get the 0, and they, those big fellas, we always tugging at our shirt, so the 0 started to look like a minus. It didn't look good.
like an O.
It did not look good
Letter O.
at all, man. And I thought he should have gotten it straight out of college, but at the same time, there hadn't been anyone in the history of the franchise to wear 0. So I knew that would have been a bigger issue, with him not being a number 1 draft pick and things like that. But, something you said earlier about the second level, the defense, the linebackers, and as we're talking about Overshown, look, I'm of the feeling about him that we shouldn't see him next year. And just based off of the devastation of that injury. I think I know the young man is making a ton of progress in that knee injury, but it was catastrophic. Yeah. And it was one of those injuries that, man, when you see DeMarvion Overshown on the field, just know that he climbed a very steep mountain to get back on the field.
That's a fact.
And that's it. And we talk about the guys over there, the rehabilitation, they're the best in the world as far as rehabilitating his ACL and all those knee injuries. But this is a guy that is going to be a part of the bigger picture, your future. And when he played last year, I talk about Murphy's Law and things going wrong. His injury was a part of it. But before that, you were seeing sparks from him where you're like, oh, we don't just have Micah Parsons as that playmaker. You got a guy that is the speed, the athleticism, the ferociousness of which he played with that's what I'm talking about right there. And we didn't have that, from all 11 guys, it may have been 2, 3 guys that was bringing that. And so I'm just hoping, look, for him, for his career, and I know we want to sell the jerseys, the shirts, and all of that stuff. Okay. But, man, let this guy rehab. Let this guy rehab. And if we don't see him until 26, I'm good with that.
Man, I get what you're saying with that. Well, first of all, I'm glad he got out of 13. You suffered so many injuries and that number for you need to just get away from it. So you got the 0. I'm glad he was able to do that. Yeah. But when we talk about, that second level and the importance of having those linebackers, we got a coordinator by the name of Eberflus here. And for my time playing under Eberflus, he had the Sean Lees of the world. He had the Rolando McClains. The linebackers on that second level needed to make this defense go. You go to Indianapolis, you had a solid second level. You go to Chicago, he had those guys on the second level. The linebacker position in his defense is of the utmost importance. They're the quarterbacks of the defense. They make sure the calls are relayed. When you're doing stunts with the defensive line, in his system, the linebackers are right there with you. They call them, a pirate, which is, defensive tackle coming down, defensive end coming down, that linebacker scraping over the top. Yeah. It's important for his defense, especially in the run game, to have those guys on the second level that can either erase issues with the defensive line if somebody makes a mistake or be able to get deep in zone because he runs a lot of zones in his defense as well. So without having, that second level down pat, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, especially in his system. So I'm worried about, especially up until Overshown's able to come back and even when he gets back, because we don't know what he's going to look like.
Yes.
To me, and I worry. That's worrisome to me. Unless you're able to hit on a prospect or a draft guy or get somebody else that's, you're able to hit on that second level, that's going to be an issue for this defense.
So Eberflus is bringing over the one linebacker he had in Chicago. They've got
Kenneth Murray. Yeah,
got Kenneth Murray in here. So they're trying to say, hey, we've got some people here.
Yeah.
As far as the rehab goes, Hek'ma, I hear what you're saying. We come down here to do the show. Britt Brown's out there working with somebody.
Right now.
Always with the fans, always.
You talk about one of the best in the world at that.
Yeah.
So come November, if they say, we think he's ready, then I'm going to trust them.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'll trust them to say
100%.
he's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to this whole thing. We're talking about the first 3 picks that, in the first 2 days. So the first round is on a Thursday. Friday's rounds 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the Cowboys are going to have to really think about the deep dive of work. You're at 12. Do you take a wide receiver at 12? You need a running back. You're going to have things that you need to do. These kinds of players that you want in the top 3. I think wide receiver is something that they would address in the top 3. I think running back is something they address in the top 3. I think defensive tackle is something they have to address in the top 3. Corner, they got stuff
some
there.
Issues, man.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting on where they land on this because they've got some needs here. So when you talk about the linebacker, is that maybe a day 3 guy where you start to think about a Bland who you got at corner? Like, hey, here's a guy that would fit. This is going to be a very interesting draft.
Priority list. It's interesting because, like you said, offensively there's so many warts. Defensively there's so many warts. Do you think, and that's why we talked about it earlier on, I said they got to make one side of the football that dominant side. And to me, I feel like you got a better chance of making that offensive side with that.
Really?
You got some offensive lineman pieces there. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Ferguson. You're missing a couple pieces here, but on the defensive side of the football, every level you're looking at something.
And see, you say that, and I come back into that thing, man. That D tackle room is. I'm just.
It's not there.
Yeah, it's not right now.
It's not there right now, but. I go back into when they took Ezekiel Elliott. The thought process was, if Ezekiel Elliott with this offensive line is good, we're going to help our defense.
Exactly.
Going to help the defense there. So it's This is where you hope that Schottenheimer, Will McClay can get together with their staff to find these right pieces and do the team building correctly. You're going to miss on some guys. You're going to hit on some guys. Yeah. I mean, Zach Bond and what the Eagles got out of him. They didn't know they were getting all that.
Hex, no, they didn't. They did not.
But that's what you do. That's what you do when you're out there mining. You're trying to go work.
But that's what I worry about at 12 is reaching. And I think 12, you're in a sweet spot because it's hard to make a mistake there. You're in the top 10 at 12, literally. Because look, if you make a mistake there, it's because you absolutely reached on a guy. In the last two drafts, we have been reaching on guys, and we've missed. We've missed on the Mozzie draft. We've missed on. And Guyton still 1 year, we're still saying, hey, we're keeping hope there. But based off of what we saw last year, look. I listened to you. I listened to what you're saying earlier about, hey, the Cowboys have holes on both sides. And so how do you fix all of it? You can't fix all of it in one draft. Mm-hmm. You got to do some of it in free agency, and you got to do some of it in draft, but it's all patchwork. You look at this offensive line, you look at those 5 guys, there's only one guy on that offensive line, and I'm not speaking for you. I'm just saying there's one guy that I can say is elite. And you look across all 31 other teams, so there's a ton of bad offensive linemen, but the ones that are playing late into January, they have some synergy and some great players in that offensive line room. There's a lot, I mean, when you do a comparison with even just doing the NFC East, all right, not the rest of the league, tackle to tackle, look, I'll take Guyton out of it. For our center, it's a red shirt. I mean, you got to give him a mulligan for last year, learning a new position. Mm-hmm. The guard, Zach Martin retired, all right, but then you have a guy in Hoffman that steps in, still learning the role. Terrence Smith, this is a must-have-it, prove-it year for Terrence Smith because last year, Terrence Steele, he has got to get it.
Yeah, he can't be a roller coaster.
He can't, Steele has to have it.
Positive Hek'ma.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, you know what? I've been beat into the ground, man. We still up by 20 off the plane.
You sound like he's mad. Sound like he's mad fan.
What I call Terrence? Did I call him Terrence? What I just call
Terrence Smith.
Oh my God. Terrence Smith. My bad. Terrence Steele.
Get our last break in here on the Players Lounge, brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming on DallasCowboys.com.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're maxing out overhead presses, pushing through chest flies, or being the hero your golden retriever needs to carry them over that scary bridge, Smoothie King has the fuel to help you go all out. Build muscle and boost your recovery with 45 grams of protein, 0 grams of added sugar, and delicious customizable ingredients in the Gladiator Smoothie. Available in chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. Only at Smoothie King.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Back to the Players Lounge.
The first ever Lone Star Smokeout is coming to Arlington. Watch headliners John Party, John Jinks, Midland, and more at this 3-day outdoor country music festival. Plus, enjoy barbecue from some of the best pit masters in the country. Get your tickets today at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium.
Thank you, Hek'ma Harrison. Barry Church from Cowboys Safety is here. I'm Newy Scruggs. This is the Players Lounge brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming. All right, Sadiq Charles, unretired. Cowboys picked him up. So he's got 18 starts in 35 games, and so they are throwing more bodies at the offensive line, which leads me to believe that I don't think that 12 they'll be taking a offensive tackle or anyone there, or the top 3. I believe that they're going to try to, hey, here's our lineman. We're throwing some bodies here. Let's figure it out. Awesome Richards, who ended up getting hurt at the end of the year, is a tackle possibilities. So I think they're going to most likely, in the top 3, not touch that position and just go with what they got. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Sadiq Charles steps in after being off for a season to add depth. And you really don't know what to make of a guy that, took off last season, whatever it was for. We don't get any reasons for why he was competing in camp prior. I think it was Tennessee that he was.
I believe so.
Yeah, and was on his way to winning the position based off of what the reports are, and decided to step away. Again, whatever those issues were. If he can come in and be a solid depth piece for you, I think it works out so much better for the Cowboys, because we saw all season, guys were going down, and you needed for guys to step in on the fly and produce. Awesome Richards, to me, is the biggest piece that I've, have been saying all season long. Like, look, man, this is a guy that really kind of earned it last season. But then, again, you're going to continue to build in that. And I think through, undrafted guys, they obviously found Terrence Steele that way. And so that's all I'm looking at. You got to add more depth to this offensive line, because right now they can't be sold on the 5 that they have right now.
No, I'm with you on that. And, what I say, you got to add those depth pieces on there. And if this team is going to run the football as much as, the coaches have been saying this offseason, I think that'll relieve a lot of pressure from this offensive line, especially from pass blocking, because that's really, where their issues were. When you look at the past couple seasons, running the football, they were a decent offensive line to almost good offensive line is running the football, creating holes for guys like Rico and Tony Pollard before that to get going. The issues that they had was pass blocking. Guys coming off of the edge or guys just going straight up the middle, that was the issue. So, adding these depth pieces and having those 5 offensive linemen that you have here, I'm good with that. Especially if you're going to run the football like you say you are. With that being said, that opens the door for the defensive line to get addressed in these first 3 rounds. The trenches. So I believe that the first 3 picks that the Cowboys will have, they may be on the defensive side of the football. They may be on the defensive side of football, because when you look at the offensive line, you got those 5 pieces there. You got some depth pieces as well. I don't see them going wide receiver at 12, and I don't see them going running back at 12.
Look, wide receiver to me is in play.
It is. Based off of
the CD and Friends?
CD is special
guest?
No. Take that. Chris, take that. He is
taking a leap, man.
Yeah. Shotty said he led the team. Never mind. I'm not even going with that, man.
Hey, man. My man's gonna take the leap, man. You saw Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I see the Pittsburgh game, man.
You did.
Nah, man. Yeah.
And if you think about what
Mingo.
they try.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
What they tried to do with Cooks, what they tried to do with Mingo, Cooks was supposed to be the guy to take the top off. Mingo's he's this big target guy, and then so you've got CeeDee Lamb, who's can run in the slot and do. They need a speedster, so therein lies that Matthew Golden. That kind of player. Ted McMillan, who they talked about from Arizona with the catch race. I believe if you're going to try to be a good football team, you do need to give Dak Prescott some more weapons.
Yeah.
So to me, when I talk first 3 rounds, I am expecting a wide receiver and a running back in the first 3 rounds for the Cowboys.
Wow. Really?
I do.
Even with all the running back pieces, I understand they're not, outstanding dynamic pieces.
Yeah.
They brought a lot of guys in. The Williams, who's the other cat they brought in? free agent wise for the run. Sanders.
yeah.
I mean,
I think those are veteran guys, a part of it.
Okay.
But I do think you're going to go out and get yourself a young running back.
Okay.
They have to. There's too much talk about it anyway. You know, the way they're talking and what we've seen them do in the past, I believe that's going to happen. But you need to, okay, if you play defense.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of CeeDee Lamb, who you worried about?
I ain't worried about it. Everybody manned up. We doubling.
Ain't worried about nothing.
We doubling.
Ain't worried about nothing.
Lock them up outside. We just right here. We doubling.
Ain't worried about nothing.
We doubling. Yeah, that's true.
But can I say this? I mean, it's something that Jimmy Johnson said. You draft to win your division, and right the NFC East, man, is the defensive lines, the offensive lines, the running games are they're just getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't look at Philadelphia, you didn't look at what the Commanders did to you in the trenches, you're asking yourself, look, if you try and run this back and the only difference that you make on this team is at the running back and wide receiver as far as the top tier talent. I'm not saying that.
But they were so bad there, though, Heck.
I get
bad,
it.
bro.
I get it.
Rico Dowdle?
No, I get it. But what I'm saying is Rico Dowdle may not have been, you wouldn't have had that same emphasis on his name had he had better at the offensive line. That's all I'm saying.
Or more chances.
Or if he had a better defensive line. You know what I'm saying? Like those things I think really matter when it comes down to those conference games. We were literally in Philly, man, we got outclassed in some of those games. I mean, without a better roster next season going up against the Eagles and Commanders, come on, man. These are two teams. You'll see them 4 times next year, as you know. And
you got the AFC West. Look, heck, they got. I think Vegas got the Cowboys like 7 wins, something like that, 7-8 wins. I mean,
that is what. Okay,
it's not looking good, bro.
No,
a winning season is a challenge.
And do you
right
think?
now.
And you think McMillan from Arizona comes in and he has that much of an impact that he increases that win percentage from 7 to 8 or 9 because of him being at a receiver, or Ashton Genty at the running back position?
They need to get better at those two positions. They need to get better.
There's a lot of holes.
There's a lot of holes.
There's
a lot of holes. I mean, like I said, if you say, hey, wide receiver, running back, defensive tackle, well, you still need a corner. You still need a linebacker. There's still need. You need tight end. I mean, there's stuff, man. Yeah. You know, this team has got issues everywhere. So where do you plug them at? And we talk about trying to find the best player, whatnot. But I just think if I'm going to pay the quarterback $60 million and I'm going to pay $50 million over here to CeeDee Lamb, you need to get more help out here. And if there is a speedster, and from just listening to the tea leaves here, if you've got Mingo and you've got Tolbert, Golden is a speedy guy. He's different than the other ones.
Yeah.
As far as a running back goes, I go back to what Nate Newton talked about. He said, hey, man, before Emmett, I was just Nate Newton. Here comes Emmett. I'm Pro Bowl Nate.
You make it right.
With the Chargers. That was just a bad football team. All of a sudden they get LT. Now dudes out here making Pro Bowls, and all they did, I just sealed my guy off a half a second, and boom, he went there. So there's a lot. You're not off. They got a lot of issues, bro.
And that's the thing. Like coming off of last season, I saw Dak get hit a lot.
Oh, he was getting. That's all the pass protection.
Yeah, he was getting hit a lot.
And Jerry admitted he made a mistake thinking, oh man, we're gonna be okay with 2 rookies. And then one of the rookies who didn't spend a whole lot of time in training camp, who was injured, they threw him out there, and he was a right tackle who tried to make the switch to left tackle in the National Football. They didn't help Guyton. And we're not talking about him at all, but it's easy to point the finger at the player, but what did the organization do to help the player, to put him in the best position possible? Mm-hmm. And now, in year number 2, does he make the jump that we saw from Terrence Steele make? You know, does he make a jump that we saw Jalen Tolbert? You know, hey, man, guess what? Rookie you poo-poo.
Yeah, it was.
What are you going to do?
Gotta get the weight room.
As your man Tony said there, and Coach Tony said in any given Sunday, I can't do it for you.
That's fact.
The inches we need are around us.
Yeah.
And if you look at Guyton, I think you'll see a guy that'll go that inch.
Let's go.
So, Tyler Guyton, what are you going to do?
We're going to find out.
Hek'ma Harrison, Barry Church,
yes, sir.
Scruggs, for Chris, Jazz, Josh, everybody, we're out.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!